Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's episode 204. I'm Mike Mylan. That is Blaine Birch, my friend, my partner on the podcast. He is the CEO and founder of Dry Run, the best forecasting software on the planet. And I'm Cashflow Mike. So what's up, man?
Yeah, ready to go, man. This is the last one of the summer, I think.
What?
When summer officially over. Or is summer officially over? It's we're getting into fall here though. Like at least up in Canada here, leaves are starting to change a little bit. It's it's coming fast. So yeah, a little too fast.
Man, I'll tell you what, I've been excited about it though. I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for football. Tonight is the first NFL game. Tomorrow the Baylor Bears play. Yeah, dude. I think it's too long a break. I know they need a break, but I think it's too long a break.
Yeah. After tonight, I'll find out just how bad my fantasy team is. I'm pretty sure they're pretty bad. So we'll find out.
Well, this one was interesting. We had our fantasy football draft last night, and I got like a B plus score, right? Because Yahoo give you a score.
Yeah.
And they said I was going to finish first in the league, though. I was projected to finish first. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
Everybody else really sucks.
No, there's like 5 people with the same record, so I think they're predicting 5 of us, 5 out of 10. It's like
okay.
10-4, 10-4, 10-4, 10-4, 10-4, 10-4, all the way down. And am I going? And then there's somebody that won't win a game. So I don't know what that person did during the draft, but that's why you don't take a kicker in the first pick.
I'm not sure I'm believing it. I got an A- this year, and I'm thinking that was pretty optimistic by Yahoo to think I'm at an A-. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I guess you got to play to find out what happens, man. So
it still makes me chuckle when you say Yahoo.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Yahoo? I don't know how you guys pronounce that.
Dude, you don't remember that? It's like Yahoo. They even had it on the commercials.
Didn't I say Yahoo? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's Yahoo.
Yahoo. It sounds American to me. Rick, I hear Rick finally. Holy smokes! I finally caught the start of the show from Rick on chat. Thanks for actually catching the start of the show, Rick. We're in for a roller coaster ride today, Rick.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen, right? Who knows what's going to happen? So cool. I want to talk about debt today. I hit a major milestone that I thought was a myth. Right. So I want to talk about debt. That's where this is coming from today. We're going to talk about debt and debt in your business and those type of things. So I thought it was a myth, but I'm going to talk about that. But what are you drinking first?
Well, because I saw your Beware of the Hidden Partner debt. And so I grabbed, and it's a terrific beer, Snake Lake Sidewinder IPA, because that's what debt is like a sidewinder in the grass, just waiting to bite you in the ass. So, but a terrific beer. I haven't had a Snake Lake on here in a while, and I saw it in the liquor store today and grabbed it. So, how about you?
If we're talking about the hidden partner, I mean, here I got one of Pat's hidden label beers.
Pat's hidden label beers. Nice job.
No,
he
actually has a label, but they fall off all the time. So it's called Shallow Grave, right? Shallow Grave Porter. And I actually had a test of this earlier. I'm like, oh my God, this is really, really good. So this might be my new favorite beer of Pat's. So Neighbor nice. Pat. Yeah. If you're new to the show and you go, who the hell's Neighbor Pat? Well, he's Neighbor Pat. and lives next door. He's terrible at cornhole, but he makes great beer.
There you go. and he hasn't found the right glue for labels yet on the beer bottle.
He uses some type of milk, something or another. He told me about it. It's like, I don't know, dips it in milk. I don't know. I don't see how it adheres. It doesn't adhere. It doesn't work. So
yeah, try rubber cement. I think that might do the trick.
Yeah, there you go.
Rubber cement.
So,
all right.
Anyway,
we got to talk about our beer sponsors. We got a whole bunch going. Most of them go all the way to the end of the year. Like we're going to kick it off with Rachel Barnett from Gentle Frog. If you own a business and you need to know how to use QuickBooks, go to her YouTube channel at Gentle Frog, or you can also go to gentlefrog.com and she will get you all straightened out so you know exactly how to use QBO to the best of your ability.
Yep, and I am 5 days away from seeing Karen Hairston out of Michigan, the 3ssmartconsulting.com. If you got a cash flow problem in your business, you want to talk to somebody about it, go contact Karen up in Michigan at 3S Smart Consulting. So she's speaking at the National Convention or conference for the SBDC advisors, Small Business Development Centers, next week. So it's pretty cool. I'll get to hang out with her.
Awesome. And you know what? I'm going to thank Neighbor Pat for you. You did show the beer, but we got to thank him for sponsoring you by keep bringing you beer. So, hey, thanks Neighbor Pat for walking down and giving Mike some beer and also some of the ones that you made personally. That porter looked outstanding, so I had to mention that. Got to mention your sponsor.
There you go. So, but we have another sponsor. I mean, he is a Netflix star. He's on the SEC championship. Larry goes, "Can you talk?" Like, Larry. Like, he's pegged me like 3 or 4 times, texted me 3 or 4 times. He knows Thursdays at 4:00 that this is happening. I have to do a do not disturb because he just keeps pinging me with text. Speaking of Larry, the cash flow cowboy, I was going to talk about Devin, but let me talk about the cash flow cowboy. He's the biggest interrupter of the podcast that we've had. We're just text. But he's also a beer sponsor all the way through the end of the year. If you need a CPA and you're in Houston and you're looking for not only saving you on tax, I know personally, but also, just an all-around good guy that knows cash flow and knows accounting like anybody. So check out Larry Weinstein, the CPA, the cash flow cowboy down in Houston. And I didn't finish Devin. Why don't you finish him up?
I'll finish up Devin. So Devin, biggest LSU fan. I haven't met Devin personally, but I have seen him on Netflix. So he's a superstar with his brief moment on Netflix, and is a longtime beer sponsor of the show. And he's sponsoring us well into next month. So, no, longer than that, actually. Oh yeah, Devin's all the way out into October. Looking at my notes the wrong way. So Devin, thanks so much for tuning in, sponsoring the show. We really appreciate it.
Got it. Who we miss? I feel like we missed somebody.
We're missing Jeff. Yeah, we got way off track here.
That's another guy. I'm going to see him in Orlando. He's actually going to be landing in Orlando next week, around the same time I am. So we're going to meet up and hang out in Orlando for the SBDC conference next week. He's already said he's coming to my session. So Jeff is my marketing guru. So if you need marketing help, his website is Rabison.com, Rabason.com. And go check him out. Jeff Robertson from Rabison.
I thought I had in the show notes as jeffrobertson.com, but anyway. I think
maybe it is. Has he got a different one?
I don't know. I checked it. I got whatever's in the show notes. Check the show notes, guys. You'll get right to his website.
Right. Well, jeffrobertson.com then. So good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so if you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, you just tuned in like on this thing sucks already. This is this thing is it's a show about business, beer, and BS. And what we have at the top of the show is this thing called a beer sponsor, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a show about beer, but it's just that we have a beer while we're doing it, and you can sponsor it. Anybody can sponsor it. Even you, Rick, if you're still listening, you can still be a sponsor if you want. And we'll talk about you and your business and send people to you. It's evergreen, the best $5 you've ever spent because it's $5 an episode. Most people are signing up for the full year, right? They just say it's worth it. We do a new episode every week. So there's like 50 episodes that go out every week, or every year. And it lives on the internet with you as part of our beer sponsorship. So check that out at mikeandblaine.com and buy us a beer.
Yeah, no, it's and also please like, subscribe, follow, and also tell your friends. We need people to tell your friends so that they tune into the show.
Hey, speaking of telling friends, I got a new hat today. I got it today. All right. Nice. This was a free gift with purchase, right? So nice. Do you remember like a month ago when I got a set of shoes that were the Baylor Bear shoes? Yeah. So yes. I hired Monique, right? I hired Monique to create some cash flow Mike shoes, and they came today, right? They came today. Awesome. I just got them, and she just surprised me with hey, here's a free gift with purchase. And she just took my C and made a little hat for me. So that's kind of cool. Awesome. But check out these bad boys, right? So I sent her, all I did was just send her white leather shoes, right? White. That's all you do. Send her a pair of shoes. She'll do it and she'll ship them right back to you. And I got mine today for the conference. So check out these bad boys, right?
Oh, beauty.
Look at that, man.
Nice.
Cash flow Mike. Look, she's even got my little logo all the way through it on there. So, and on the backside too, or in the backside, she's got the cash flow Mike there.
Nice.
On that side. And then what she did, she took my product, the Clear Path to Cash, and did the other shoe.
Oh,
all right. So check that
perfect.
out, right? Clear Path to Cash, took my logos and airbrushed them onto my colors. And look, it's even got a little Air One, tag down here. Oh,
nice.
The other thing I wanted to show you is check that out.
Oh, yeah. The old Mike and Blaine. Oh, perfect. That's beautiful.
But she only did Mike. She didn't do any Blaines. So
yeah, well, that's it.
Only Mike.
I want you standing on my face all day anyway, so that's probably.
Is that cool as hell, dude? And I'm gonna tell
great.
you. Oh, that's the thing, right? I'll be wearing them around everywhere. I wore those Baylor shoes. People stop me. Where'd you get those? You got to have them made, nice. Right? Monique, she sent me some business cards, but Mo Chic Designs, right? Mo Chic awesome. Designs, right? Yeah, she's got great business cards here. Maybe if people can do the scan it, if they can do that on the thing. But yeah, there it is. Maybe they can scan that from there. And I'll throw it up on the Facebook page as well. But man, she just does a good job, and so easy. And I mean, they're just showstoppers. When you walk around with a pair of her shoes on, everybody wants to talk to you. So go check them out. Nice. That's why I got some Cash Flow Mike ones. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And Rick thinks they're way nicer than your Baylor shoes. Something tells me that has something to do with football.
He's going. All right, so Rick and I are going to the Baylor Kansas State game. He went, Kansas State guy. I think he walked on the football team. I think he was a walk on the football team, right? And he's got a lot of his friends were football players there. But yeah, nice. He's coming to Texas in October, and I and Shane, my friend Shane, from Tacoma. We're all going to the Baylor versus Kansas State football game. So he's going to get a healthy dose of Baylor shoes that day because I'm going to wear them to the game.
He's going to drink. He's going to spill beer on them. You know what's going to happen. And some
No, he's not. No, he's not. Because there will be a big fight. There'll be a big fight in McLean Stadium if he does that.
You might want to wrap them in saran wrap. Just wrap your shoes up so you can still see through this.
Yeah. There you go. All right. So check out debt. Remember I told you I had a major milestone. I thought it was a myth. I did not think that you could get a perfect credit score. I didn't think. I thought that there's no fucking way that anybody gets a perfect credit score. I get an email this morning. Hey, ding, ding, your credit score increased. I'm like, the only thing I did was I had some like patio furniture that I put on a credit card and I paid it off. So it's like zero, right? Because I don't like any debt. That's just me. I don't like it as much debt as possible. So it went up. I'm like, what was it? Because I've been kind of playing in the 800s and I thought I was doing pretty good in the 800s. I go look, 850, perfect score. It only took me 40 years to get a perfect score. I've never even seen a perfect score. I got a perfect score.
I didn't know. I wouldn't have known what a perfect score was anyway. I would have just thought, I don't know, is it 1,000? Like I had no idea.
850 is the best you can get. On a FICO score. So yeah, got that. And guess what? Nothing happened. There was no balloons. There's no confetti. There's nothing happens with that. I mean, I guess people will give you money if you want it. That's about all that's going to happen.
I was just going to say, like, what does it actually give you? The ability to borrow more money?
And you know what's funny? So I reached that milestone, but if you listen to Dave Ramsey, that's not the goal. The 850 is not the goal. 0 is the goal. You want a 0 credit score where you don't even need credit.
Where they don't even know. Yeah, because the thing is, they actually probably hate people like you because you're paying back. You're paying everything back. So the banks with your perfect credit score probably think you're a deadbeat because you're paying back and they're not making any money off you, right? So the only ones they don't like is probably a 0 and a perfect score because they're not making a nickel off you.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey said he tried to rent an apartment for his daughter or something like that and couldn't do it because he didn't have a credit score. Oh, he said, I can buy this apartment in cash. You won't rent it to me for my daughter to live here during college?
Crazy.
He got denied. He got denied a rental. He had to get a cosigner.
There's
That's
something
just
broken, something broken when that happens. But anyway,
yeah, but it's been a big discussion for the last 2 weeks, and with some of my clients and some of the people that I work with,
Mhm.
is this debt thing. People, when I called it in the description, the silent partner that you didn't invite, it's because you become beholden to the debt.
Mhm.
Now, today I want to kind of explore that from two ways, because sometimes debt is helpful and can help. Other times you're kind of a slave to it, right? I mean, so
Mhm.
whereas, and when I say helpful, meaning it can help you grow, it also makes you hungry, because if you got debt payments to make, sometimes you work harder, right? Because you're like, oh, I got to make that debt payment. I got to make the house payment. I got to make, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Other times you're like going, damn, I have to go do this because I have that debt payment. So I want to talk about the emotional connection to debt, and I'll explain some things on how to use it as well. So, what's your experience with it?
Well, like we try and like I try, especially personally, not to carry a lot of debt. Um, but like on the business side, that's that's just a cost of doing business a lot of times, and it can be like you said, there's times where it can be really helpful, and there's times where it can just be like a ball and chain around your ankle, right? Um, but we all know that small business, like you're not walking into a bank and they're lending you money. This is how it's not
Mm-hmm.
happening. And
Yeah.
so you see, half the people in the United States, half the people in Canada are employed by a small business, and all those small business owners are really struggling to find capital to be able to start those businesses. And your options are you take on debt that you have to pay back, or you and it's hard. It's really even hard to get debt, or you get investors. And a lot of times in small business, those investors you owe, or you're putting in your own money. Um, and the only time you actually can kind of run a business and it's on someone else's money, they're kind of probably running the show unless you actually have a big enough percentage of the business. So there's no freebie and there's no ideal way for a small business or a startup to move forward.
No, I mean, that's why they say usually your first financing is from the three F's, right? It's friends, family, and fools.
Yeah.
And you have to. I mean, that's how it started for me, right?
Yeah.
It was savings. It was. I mean, I took a second out on the house just to make payroll, right? And
Yep.
I had to, right? So that was my first line of credit. Was my own line of credit. And then as I got a little bit of history, I was able to secure an actual line of credit that, helped me out immensely, right? Where I could get that.
Yep.
But you got to start. Sometimes you're the bank. And yeah, and if you do it right, you can pay yourself back. Say, hey, listen, I'm going to put it in there, but I'm going to take this money back out and use my business to generate wealth and transfer it back to me. I think you got to look at it that way. Where a lot of people, I think, get hurt is that they put the wrong things on credit cards. I think we've talked about that before. It's, or they use their line of credit for things that aren't related to revenue driving activities. And here's what I mean. All right, so let's just talk about the credit cards at first. I think didn't I mention a statistic on here, like the average American has like $37,000 in credit card debt.
Oh, wow. You
Yeah.
may have, but I had no idea it'd be that high. I had no.
It's
No
ridiculous, right? It's because, you get one and then the people, what I would even suggest, if you can do it, if you got one that has a balance transfer it to that to get that free interest, but then make a plan to pay it down, right? Because otherwise, credit card rates right now, they adjust with the Fed
So
rates.
high.
They're
high.
Somebody told me there was like almost 30% on theirs right now. And I looked at mine. I'm like, oh, mine's like 18 or 19% because I use USAA, which is kind of a military, bank.
Yeah.
But 18, 19% is big.
It's ridiculous. Well, I'm just going to say it's basically criminal to have that kind of interest rate, because you don't, if you got a bank loan or line of credit or something, you're not paying that kind of interest. It's the credit cards are hooking people and they're charging interest that is just so epically high. It's almost criminal because this, how do people get out of it then?
Yeah, I mean, the only way I think you can is you got to say, I'm not going to take that trip. I'm not going to buy that TV. I'm not going to, do these things. And where people get really hurt with credit cards is they start buying stuff like meals and then they carry the balance, right? They go get a steak. They go to a steakhouse. Matter of fact, I went to an awesome steakhouse for my birthday. I think I told you that. But if you think about it, you put a $200 meal on a credit card and then don't pay it.
Cost you $500 by the time if you pay it off, right? Like,
yeah, and it's gone. You have nothing to show for it. You got a memory. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. So you have nothing to show for it. So for me, if I use a credit card, it's usually for a real short amount of time because I'm real, weird about cash balances and things like that and paying cash. Matter of fact, that's why I use American Express for everyday purchases. Why? It forces me to pay off the balance every single month. So it forces me not to carry a balance. I love that part. Somebody asked me today, they go, hey, what's your limit on that? And I looked it up and I go, there's no limit. Because they're going to let me create whatever chaos I want to. But I don't want to do that, right? Scares the hell out of me. That scares me, right? Because I feel like I'm the type of guy I feel like pinned down by it. I feel like it chokes me. It doesn't feel good, right? And even when I talk to my daughters, right, they want to go buy a car. I say, don't buy a car unless you got 3 months worth of payments or whatever already in the bank, and it just sits there because anything could happen. You lose your car, right? You lose your job. You get sick, whatever. At least have 3 months to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. Like I can't. Credit card companies hate me, but we put everything we possibly can on credit card, and then we pay it off every month. And the two reasons, first of all, the number one reason is we get a boatload of points and it's basically like cash and they're paying me and I pay them back and they'll pay a dime of interest. So now it's, if you're disciplined enough to do that, you can make a lot of money off of that, like every year, because I put every single thing I possibly can on. But the other benefit of that, especially compared to paying cash, is you literally have a list of your purchases every month and a number at the bottom. And it's also can be a really good budget tool to know exactly what you're spending every single month, literally documented for you. And so that can be a lot of value, because I think, are you really keeping track if you're going to the Instabank and you're pulling cash out and you're paying cash and that? Okay, now you're just looking at your bank balance and trying to match the timing of your bank balance with when you're getting deposits and that. So I think it can be really effective, but the only rule is pay it off every month, and it can be really effective.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people kind of carry a balance for 2-3 months, right? Maybe you just want to stretch out the payment a little bit, just for whatever reason, cash or whatever. I don't mind that, but you got to realize that on the balance sheet, the credit card is listed as a current liability. And what they mean by that is it's expected to be, paid off, within 12 months, right? I'm like you, Blaine. I want you to pay it off every month. And once you get into that habit, it's a discipline. And once you get into that habit, you don't want to feel that debt. You don't want to feel the burden of that debt anymore. You just pay it off. So if I buy anything, it's consumables that I would have paid cash for.
Yeah. It just depends how you can operate, and if you can do it and use it for points. Like, I don't even like to carry a balance for 2 or 3 months like that. It's just it's because this is a really high interest rate. I want my points, and I want to spend my points.
That's what I do with American Express, right? It's for the points. Matter of fact, those 2 little leather chairs sitting over here, I bought with American Express points. Did it with points. It's just the same as cash, and I didn't have to come out of pocket for it.
Yeah, to me, it's like they're paying me for convenience. Like, they literally are paying me to have a convenient way to pay for things too. Like, so, but it is like, when you tell me how the debt load that Americans are carrying, you just have to have a particular I guess, worldview and discipline and the ability to actually pay it off. Like if it's only the essentials and you're only surviving on it, that's not great, but I could understand that. But to go and just buy stuff and then pay 5 times what it's worth, that's a hard way to get ahead, right?
Yeah. So I like the fact that it is convenient, right? And I like the points. I'm probably like you in that. But this debt thing, it's one of those things where you get instant gratification for something where maybe you could have paid cash for it if you waited 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, or something like that. And instead of making the credit card payment, you just put it in a savings account, or just didn't spend it. But it takes people years to get out of it. I mean, if you ever look at if you pay the minimum, you'll pay this off in 49 years or whatever. I'm like, well, that's probably what most people are doing, and they just never pay it off, right? Yeah. And as soon as they get they'll max out the card, and they'll either, start a new card, or they'll actually pay it down, and whatever they pay down, they spend right back. It's, people get comfortable with high amounts of debt, and they don't think about when is it going to come due.
Yeah. And I think debt to me is most worthwhile when it's, when you don't have the cash on hand, but you're buying something that's an investment, or that's essential that you like. Yeah, maybe you can't walk in. Most people can't walk in and go, I'm just going to buy a car cash. Like most people can't do that, of course, right? A property, a home, some sort of investment like that, and in business too. Not like I'm going for dinner. It's operations. It's about building a business. That's a different sort of thing to me than the frivolous kind of spend, right? And I know we're talking about business here, but I think even a lot of people that get into business, it's the same sort of problem that a lot of people that just carry debt and carry credit card expenses on every month. I really strongly believe, I know we've probably talked about this before, that I think you should have financial literacy courses from almost kindergarten till you graduate. Every year should be a course on financial literacy, or a big part of a course should be on financial literacy. I think it would make a dramatic difference. It'll make a dramatic difference. The credit card companies and the banks won't like it because they're printing money off of the backs of people. But could you see the difference in wealth in the country? And it would also, that money would be spent. It would really change the economy if people understood and weren't going into debt and then just can't afford anything, and all they're doing is paying the banks. The banks are the only ones that make any money. Then the small businesses don't, because they can't afford it. People can't afford to buy stuff because they're all just paying the bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, remember how I make fun of look at where he filled this bottle to. Sometimes it's down here, but I don't know if you can see where it's. Look where it is. I can't see where it is. All right, look right.
Oh, it's right at the top.
Right there, you see it.
Holy cow!
You see it shimmering?
You almost had that overflow.
Look at that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm like, holy shit! I could spill that down my shirt. I'm telling you, the quality control down at Neighbor Pat's is. I think labels. It's good.
It's less about quality control and more about too much product testing while he's filling his bottles.
Yeah, that's funny. So, all right. So I think where we landed on this, correct me if I'm wrong, credit cards are good, but credit cards are good for things that you would have normally paid cash for, or you can pay off in a short amount of time. And I say 1 month, but I think it's okay to go longer than that, but not longer than a year.
Yeah.
Right.
It's when in business, I know business is a little bit different, but it's like I always look at debt in business, and personal too. What's the interest rate, and is there like I said, a line of credit? If you can get a line of credit, the interest rate is likely going to be a lot less. Even a bank loan, the interest rate will likely be a lot less. But we all know it's not like banks are lining up to give businesses loans, let alone people, right? So it can be a real challenge, right?
Well, it's definitely, you mentioned business, and I think it bleeds together, business and personal. I think the same disciplines you have in your house, you have to also have in your business. And I think people get in trouble as those, don't carry any debt personally, but the business is like loaded. Like, why do you have such a different mindset when it's supposedly not your money, but all of it's your money if you're the business owner, right? Well, why do you have a different mindset? Because it's underneath a different company.
I don't know how much that is mindset. Like, are you buying a hot tub for the business, or are you making payroll? Because the difference now, like right now, is a tough time for people. I talk with business owners every day. It's not exactly flying out there right now. It is a tough time for businesses right now. I was at a restaurant just the other night, and we were sitting on the patio, and I overheard these guys from the neighborhood sit down, and the one of them was saying, these guys are struggling. We really should come here more often. I don't come here very often. It's right here, and I just forget it's there. But I think they had put up a social post that it's like, guys, we need some support, or we're not going to survive, right? And you walk in, you sit down in the restaurant, and you're like, oh, this is a nice place, and everything seems good. We hadn't been there ourselves. We probably hadn't been there in a couple of years. Actually, this one I don't even know if we'd been to before. And you hear things like that, and you're like, yeah, from the outside, everything looks fine. But on the inside, businesses are really struggling, and they're struggling at just a higher level, I think, than this last 5 years has been brutal, I think, on small business. So it's a challenge, right?
Well, I mean, that leads me to, I had a client this week that, you need to take that deeper dive. What looks good on the outside may not have all the right levers on the inside, and that's why I called you. I called you for your help because you got one of the best products on the market called Dry Run that can make sense of a lot of data. And this company has a lot of data, it has a lot of issues, it has a lot of things that are going on. And I called on my friend Blaine and his team at Dry Run to figure it out. So how'd you help me?
Well, just like we help so many other businesses, trying to get a handle on where you're headed. Frankly, it's a little bit of where we are right now and where we're headed on our cash flow, on our revenue, on our demand, and how do we get there? And it is like there's challenges out there. There's businesses that are really fighting it right now. And the other thing, though, that I've really been talking with people about lately is the fact that it's easy to think getting out of those spreadsheets and dedicating some time and money into understanding where your business is going feels like a cost center, feels like it's costing you money. And so I literally put up a little calculator online, and it shows all where the numbers come from and everything. Go to dryrun.com/impact, and we have a calculator there. Put in the dollars of your business, the revenue of your business, and it's going to do an average of basically how much money you're leaving on the table by having your expenses too high, and also by leaving revenue on the table because you're not deploying capital well enough. You're not on top of it the way you need to be. And little secret here, like the little demo number there, $50 million business, that's just like this is locked, like it's just dropped in, put any revenue for whatever your business is, and it's about 8 million. And that seems really high till you start going through all the places it's leaking out of the business. It's a really big impact. And so we can have a really big impact. We give you a huge ROI on your business and help you understand where your business is going. But at the end of it, you're also going to be saving money and making money. So come visit us at dryrun.com. We're going to help you take control of your cash flow, model scenarios, figuring out where your business is going, and save your finance team at least 20% of their time.
Can't wait. So I know we just started our engagement together on this client, and I cannot wait to see what we find out.
Me too. It's going to be awesome. We're really just chomping at the bit to dig in and get some data back to the owner there so that they can really see what's happening in the business. So
yeah, right on. All right. So we ended that last segment on credit cards. I want to switch to the one that gets everybody in trouble, right? Which is the line of credit. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things when you talk about like financial literacy and these courses, no one really explains what a line of credit is, right? I think most people just think of it as, oh, well, I got this extra checkbook. It's like either a credit card or, another loan that I've got to pay. But it's designed for a purpose. And if you use it the right way, you're actually going to not only use the bank's money, but you'll have the money to grow and you'll have the money when you need it for payroll just by following the rules. But people forget the rules, right? With this line of credit. I've seen people go out and buy stuff with it. Like, oh, I need this piece of equipment. They'll go buy something that they can depreciate. And I'm going to get a little technical. Depreciation is basically where you're matching the ability of the thing you bought. I don't care if it's a truck. Well, I'll just use a truck. You bought a truck and you can depreciate it, we'll say, for 5 or 7 years. We'll just call it 7 years. If I can depreciate it, it's because that thing I bought, the truck, is supposed to generate revenue for me over 5 to 7 years. You're like, oh, Mike, boy, how do you come up with this number? Well, the IRS in the States has what they call a useful life chart. And what the useful life is the time it's supposed to generate revenue. The only reason to buy something is to help you make money or, either in revenue or profit. That's it. Don't buy things unless they're not going to do that for you. Mm-hmm. So if I can depreciate it for 7 years, then I should buy that with a 5 or 7 year term loan, which means if I don't use cash, meaning that as the payments are done, so is depreciation. And it's a good time to start all over because you don't get the benefit of depreciation. Now, what depreciation is matching the expense of the thing you bought, the truck, with the revenue it's supposed to generate each month, right? That you're using the truck. That's depreciation. Now, if I use my line of credit to do that, well, a line of credit is supposed to be paid down to zero every year, at least one time down to zero. And then they use terms like you have to let it rest. Nobody knows what that means. I mean, most people are like, what do you mean let it rest? That means it has a zero balance and you can't use it for 30 days. Doesn't matter when, you get to pick when, but one time per year, you have to have your line of credit down to zero and not draw on it. Now, if you're carrying a balance, like I bought a truck for $100,000, chances are I might not be able to pay it down to zero in 1 year and let it rest. That's where you get into trouble and you get your line pulled from you, or they do a thing called term out the line. And some people just say, we're going to term your line. That doesn't mean they're terminating it. That means they're going to convert it to a term loan, which is what I just told you should have had in the first place, right? It was a term loan. So they're going to put you in the right box. They're going to put you in the right structure and then say, don't do that again. And if you do it again, then they're going to end the line or cancel the line. So, but the line of credit is designed so you can buy enough inventory to keep up with your sales. Because if you don't have the inventory, I can't keep up with it. Or have enough money to make my payroll to keep up with sales because I need to pay my people in a service company. You only use it for that. And if you do it right, we'll say on inventory, you're only going to pay for your inventory once, the first time. After that, as customers buy it from you, you pay the line, right? You borrow from the line, customers pay you, you pay the line. And it'd be easier to pay off your line every month. So that's a big thing. I mean, have you have any experience with lines of credit?
Well, I don't have one for business. My one experience is we went into the bank with my last business. We had a small line of credit, and it was just like we never used it. It was just like our little buffer, our little security blanket, right? But our revenue had grown quite a bit. And so I went and booked a meeting with the banker and went in and said, this is how I said it. I don't think anyone out there is going to be confused, or at least as confused as the banker was. So I said, our revenue's up quite a bit. What would you suggest for the size of a line of credit for a company like us to make sure that we have some padding there, because we would like to increase it so that we've got a little more flexibility, rainy day fund if we have a slow month, because it was a, lumpy cash flow type of business. You got big months and you got small months, and that's just how it happens, right? And she nodded and yeah, okay. And then a few days later, they sent us documents for a loan.
Not a line of credit.
I phoned up. No line of credit. A loan that we did not need, did not ask for at all. We weren't even using our line of credit.
Yeah.
So I phoned a guy I knew at the bank and said, if you don't find me a business banker that doesn't have their head up their ass, we are moving banks today. And he just said, he goes, I'm not technically allowed to do this because this is a branch you're at and this is who you're using, but go talk with this person. And we literally moved branches over that because it was like awful. And you know what, the reason I'm also bringing this up is because I think a lot of business owners put a lot of faith in their banker and put a lot of trust in their banker that they know what you need and how to do this. And you need a good business banker. You need a banker you can go to. You need a banker you can trust. And unfortunately, at least up in here in Canada, there's a lot of bankers are constantly moving, and they're moving up and moving branches, and you just get sloughed, passed along to the next one. And you just have to take it on yourself to know what the hell's going on. Don't trust your banker unless you really trust your banker.
You know, it's funny. As part of my course, I tell people that there were 3 complaints that most business owners have about bankers, right? 3 of them. And you touched on 2 of them just in your story, right? The first one I call LOTO, LOTO, which is loan officer turnover, which means shit, every time I go there, I have to tell the story all over again to somebody new. And then that old person went to a new bank and he's trying to steal me to come over there, right? It's like, I'm always like telling the same story over and over again. The second one is you never stop by just to know me, just to, the only time you come by is to sell me something like, hey, can I get your credit card processing? Can I, get this credit, my new credit card offer? The one that really sent me over the edge, I had a hotel staffing company and 3 restaurants at the time. Mm-hmm. And I had 1 vehicle on the balance sheet, mine, right? That I used to get to the restaurants and the hotels. That was it. I had 1 vehicle. Yeah. Why would you offer me fleet leasing? It didn't make sense. I mean, so that's where I first started using the acronym DUMB, D-U-M-B, because that was my 3rd complaint was you don't understand my business and you're asking me just dumb questions, right? So don't send me somebody that's dumb.
I will even say... there's a good chance that most of them, you don't even need the M because they don't understand business at all. They're, they're trained on how to sell the product.
Dub B.
He needs some shoes like that.
That's funny. But that is kind of, mysterious in a way, right? Because people there's good debt and bad debt. Well, I told you I don't carry credit card debt because to me, that's bad debt, right? Especially if it's on consumable stuff that's gone before I even pay it off. But I do have 2 loans, right? I do have 2 loans right now. I have a car loan. And the reason I got the car loan is because they offer me 1.99% financing.
Nice.
Now, it's not 0, but at least that's like free money. It's like almost all my payments going right to the car. So I'm like, I'm okay with that. Yep. The house, I've got a loan on this house we built. Why? Because it was like 2.75% financing. And now people trip all over themselves. I can't even sell this house and go buy another house because I wouldn't be able to afford the same type of house with the current interest rates.
The interest rates are through the roof,
So the good debt is when you can almost get free money. Right. That's why I mean, the new computer, remember last year I used the Apple financing. It's 12 payments at 0%. It's paid off the retail, 0%. I'm like, I'm going to do that every time because you just gave me free money.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even know. 0%. That is outstanding.
Yeah.
I've never even thought of it. I don't think I've ever bought equipment without just freaking buying it. That is 0%. Hell yeah. Do that.
Yeah, I go in there, but they say, hey, listen, you can finance this over 12 months for 0% on the new Apple card. So if you get the Apple card, That's what it is. And I set it up on auto pay, and it just kind of goes, and there's no interest.
Goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you need a computer, go to Apple.
Yeah. I don't even know if we have Apple Card in Canada. I have no idea if we do. I'd have to look.
Yeah, I would think so, right? No, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, different banking
It's
rules.
Canada. Sometimes we're so far behind. I grew up watching American commercials going, that's so cool. And then they can't get half the stuff in Canada. Same thing with Amazon. Go to Amazon. When I'm down in the States, he's like, you can get anything in Amazon. And they come to Canada. I'm like, frick, I can't get anything. Like, all this cool stuff that I want.
Yeah. You guys got plumbing and stuff? All that? You got all that cool stuff?
That's made out of pine. Like tube of pine.
Yeah. It's funny. So, all right. So let's talk about, so here's how to structure. I'm going to kind of end up my debt with this. Here's how I think a small business can structure debt, right? Is that at the first level, it's just your stuff. Think about your stuff, right? If you got a building, if you got a truck, if you got equipment, it doesn't matter. Stuff that you see it on your balance sheet as like gross fixed assets, or property, plant, and equipment, or furniture, fixtures, and equipment, whatever they call it. That is, if you're not going to pay cash, use a term loan, right? And the rule is this: the length of the loan should match the life of the assets. The length of the loan matches the life of the assets. So that's the first level. Just know that.
I'm going to add something in here though too.
All right, go ahead.
Because once you've depreciated that item off of your balance sheet, if you can still use it and don't go buy new stuff. Because I had an accountant one time, you can't write that off anymore. So go buy that. Holy shit, we can't write it off anymore. A write-off doesn't mean free money. Like you still have to pay for it. You get a little bit back, but you still have to pay for it. And so don't get fooled into, well, I can't write it off anymore, so I'll just buy more shit. Like,
yeah, you know what's funny about that is the accountants that make me mad are the ones that go to, we'll say, farmers that are 60, 70, 80 years old. And they'll say, hey, you're going to have to pay taxes this year if you don't go buy a new tractor. Well, how much is the taxes? $30,000. So they go buy a tractor. Yeah, they go buy a $300,000 tractor to save $30,000 in taxes. And sometimes they'll put the farmer. I saw this. I saw this recently. They'll put an 80-year-old farmer in a 15-year loan on a tractor, or on something crazy. They're like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" Right? It doesn't even make sense.
That's the culture of this idea of. I understand, like, you want to reduce your taxes, but it's the math doesn't always work out. You're paying money. Like, you're reducing, I'm reducing my taxes. Yeah, you just took a big chunk of your revenue, like it's gone, or your profit's gone because you're buying shit you don't need, right? Mm-hmm. There's this point where it's, you pay taxes, but how much do you have left at the end of the day? I always say, like, nothing but net. What do you have left at the end of the day? Well, if I buy this giant tractor, probably not a hell of a lot, but at least I save some money on my taxes. Don't worry about paying the taxes. How much do you have left at the end of the day? And because I literally, I know I sound really annoyed right now. It's because I sold my favorite car because my accountant told me I couldn't write it off anymore. And I still miss that car. Oh, I not as much, because I finally bought basically the same car except for 20 years newer. But I missed that car for like 20 years because, or maybe not 20, but a lot of years. Sold it because, well, you can't write it off anymore. So then we go and lease these fancy cars. Yeah, you get write-offs, but it's just literally cash going out of the business when I had a car that was completely paid for. The math, it's like this little slice of taxes goes down. The rest of the math did not make sense at all. And then on top of it, I sold a car that I loved. And so my car now, Lucy, she's not going anywhere for a while because I love that car. But there's two types of math. It's write-offs, and I'm like, yeah, but what's your net profit at the end of the year? Well, how much did you retain that you can keep or deploy? And I'm kind of a little frustrated with that. This whole tax thing, I think, is a red herring to a lot of people.
Yeah, I always tell people, I said, my job is to give you a tax problem. I want you to pay tax. That means you're making money.
You're making money.
You're making money, right? So, and for car payments, I'm like going, if you paid off your car and you'd made payments for 3, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever they are now, once you pay it off, keep making the payments to a different account. And keep using it. I had an Infinity I kept 15 years.
Yeah. Just keep
right?
it.
But you start saving up the money for the next one.
Exactly. Right? Save that money up. It's cash that goes out the door. You know, like you pay $1,000 and it's like, oh, your tax write-off, so 20% or 30%, 15%, whatever it is. It's like you realize if it's a 15% corporate tax, let's say, I don't know what the tax rates are. I'm not an accountant, but wow, I saved $150 a month on tax and spent $850 of our revenue. The math doesn't work out. I agree with you. It's like your tax problem. There's a certain point where it's like, pay your tax and it's money. You take your freaking money and get it out of the business while you can. Absolutely. It's a bit of a lesson that I've learned over the time. It's like do all the math, not just this little sliver. I don't want to pay the government. Yeah. Well, how much do you want to pay you? How much you want to retain in the business, right? I understand. There's like, hey, the flip side of it, I guess, is what, if you can pay for computers and phones and cars and everything through your business and you're not paying it with personal money, that's terrific. But don't just replace your phone when it's perfectly fine. Don't replace your car when it's perfectly fine and you're super happy with it because you think you can save a few dollars on taxes. That doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all. So, hey, tell me about your fantasy football team. I think we beat up debt a little bit today. So tell me about your fantasy football team.
Okay, so I took a tactic that was very similar to last year, and last year was one of my most successful years ever in fantasy football. And I'm going to give you a little insight here. I don't watch a lot of football anymore because on Sundays we're out pedaling around, biking to a brewery and having beer. And I don't actually watch that much football. And so I'm really dangerous if I try and draft on my own because I just draft people that I know and they probably are well past their prime. So I take the recommendation of, I'm going to say Yahoo, but you'll probably say Yahoo. And I got an A- this year, basically by doing like 90% of what they recommend. But
so it's the first game of the year told you and it gave you a good grade.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wow, a big coincidence there. I did what you said and you gave me a good grade, but I don't have a lot of faith in my team. But if you ask me right now, this is probably the first year in the last 20 of playing fantasy football. If you ask me to name a single player on my team, I don't think I can right now. After a game or two, I will, but I could not name one today. I have no idea who's on my team anymore.
You know what's funny is I said that during the draft last night. I'm going, I don't even recognize half these names. I watch a lot of football. I'm going, I don't recognize half the names. I don't know what happened. Something from last year to this year. I mean, there's just so many different people. You recognize some of the older ones. You're like going, yeah, but they're old.
I don't even have those. This is the first year ever, and I'm not kidding here, guys. I could not name a single player. I've never had that before because usually I'll draft like a favorite or two. I'm gonna pull up my my and see if you have heard of any of these guys. C. Williams. Nope, don't know who that is.
Caleb Williams,
Collins,
quarterback. Nico Collins. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I waited too long to get quarterbacks, so I'm pretty sure I have some just absolute shit quarterbacks. He's my.
I don't think anybody ever draft. Yeah, nobody drafts him. I don't even know how you ended up with him.
because I waited too long and went, holy cow, we're deep in the draft, and Yahoo hasn't recommended a quarterback yet. I better grab one. And at least I think he's a starter. I don't know. Gibbs, Williams, there's about 1,500 Williams in the league. Ferguson, Adams. I don't know who any of these people are.
Actually,
you probably don't know who any of these people are. Like, this is my team this year is just like, SFGs from top to bottom.
All right. Well, as long as the Chiefs beat the Baltimore Ravens, I'm okay with that. That's the only game that's important this whole year. So I can keep that decanter in this house and not have to send it to Baltimore.
Let me know when that game is, because I will probably watch that one. I know last year I was sitting in a bar up the hill from our house in Scottsdale, and that game came on. And I went, "Holy cow, it's a Mike Milan Bowl!" And we actually paid attention to it. That's the only game I probably watched last year was the Mike Milan Bowl. So I'll try to catch it this year too.
Go watch it again. So okay, hey, 204 in the books. Can you believe that we're like on the other side of 200 now? We're just cranking ahead, cranking forward.
We're spitting distance from 1,000.
There you go.
A few years. A lot of
We're
years,
season
actually.
5. Yeah, season 5. I mean, by the time we catch like Joe Rogan, he's on like almost 3,000 now.
Yeah.
Well, we got ways
by the
to
time
go.
we get to 1,000, it's going to be just like, I don't understand this weird glasses. They're showing eyes on my glasses. It's like, you cranky old men don't understand technology anymore.
All right. Hey, next week I am in Orlando.
Enjoy.
So we'll see you then. We'll see you when we come back. But I appreciate it. Another one in the books.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.